Hey guys, my name is Forrest, KI7QCF. If you've been to my channel before, you know I like to do CW POTA activations and hunting. I wanted to film a quick video today. It's May 26th. It's a special day. It marks 2 months from my first CW QSO. And kind of over the last week or so, I've realized that I wanted to make this video specifically to give some advice or recommendations to new CW operators. And to preface the video, I am a new CW operator. I am a beginner. But I've had an interesting journey over the last 2 months that I wanted to share, and specifically what sparked it, what happened for me in my CW journey. And I hope from this video it can help at least one person out there to continue in their CW journey and improve. So for me, a little bit of background, beginning of the year, I got interested in CW. It was really a YouTube video of POTA activation, actually from my uncle, and Morse code just piqued my interest. I thought it was really interesting. I thought, it's how could someone understand that? I ordered a straight key on Amazon, quickly ditched it for an iambic paddle, learned the alphabet, learned numbers, and was just practicing sending on a trainer, and then realized that, oh, I'm going to have to learn how to copy and actually understand what's being sent. But thanks to a lot of YouTube videos, the Farnsworth method and L2WO.net, there's a plethora of resources out there. I began to make some progress and just really spent a lot of time trying to learn CW. I will say though, the first 2.5 months, by about, I guess if this was beginning of the year, by about mid-March, I felt as though I had made a lot of progress, but I was nowhere near getting on the air. Like my instant character recognition or my ability to copy CW, it wasn't there, and I felt like something needed to change. So I'll show you kind of what I did and then what happened. But I think, I want to just quickly highlight that, at least for me, there was a lack of fulfillment during the learning process of CW, those first 2.5 months, because the whole reason we're learning CW or Morse code is to ultimately be able to utilize it. And the way you utilize it is getting on the air or operating in ham radio. And that's so different from other things we may try to learn how to do. So like if I want to learn how to play basketball, I think one of the first things anyone would do is you'd pick up a basketball. You would go to the court, you would start shooting hoops. Sure, you may do some other things concurrently, like researching it, watching YouTube, maybe watching NBA or watching basketball, but you would definitely start doing it. The same thing with throwing a football, or, I at one point, I actually lived abroad and I knew I was going to need to learn a language. And I spent weeks training beforehand. But then when I got to the country and I actually, my native language was no longer utilized in this area where I live, I had no choice. I had to start using the language. And then, as you can imagine, with anyone, you would skyrocket. And the huge misconception I had, and I think a lot of people have this, is there has to be this level that I eclipse or that I get past before I can begin to use CW or operate, and that is incorrect. That is faulty thinking. One of my favorite ways I've had it explained is the Chris Rakowski, his CW Way of Life, the CW Way of Life book. It's a really good book. He talks about how babies learn language and they learn it by, baby steps, little pieces here and there. They say the same words for a long time that they never say correctly. I would know. I have an 18-month-old at home, and it is the funnest thing in the world as he's learning words and using words. But that analogy is really, really good. If a baby had the fear of, okay, well, before I open my mouth to mom and dad, I better really have bottle or mama or dada down pat. I better have that figured out. Imagine how their progress would be hindered. Well, as silly as that is, it's the same for CW. If you're waiting for this um, specific thing to occur before you're good enough to get on the air, uh, you're fooling yourself. And I was fooling myself. So now we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about my journey a little bit. So again, by mid-March, I felt that discouragement, and I felt that those 2.5 months, it had gone really well. I made a lot of progress, but I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I put together a plan, and we're going to look at that plan now. I'm going to share my screen. Forgive the Zoom format. That's why I'm actually doing this video this way, is I want to share my screen and share a few different things. So the first thing we're going to look at is I built a plan. So anytime you set hefty goals, it's good to write it down and be very specific, right? So you'll see this. This was March 17th. I wrote down a very specific goal and I began to track it. And you'll see those goals. My goal was to hunt my first POTA or SOTA, get on the air for the first time with CW by June 1st, 2024. And then if I was able to hunt by June 1st and I could spend an entire month hunting, I would then possibly be ready to activate my first park by July 1st. I would be good enough by then. And this is what, then I defined what needed to be true for me to go hit this June 1st goal. The LTWO, and by the way, this is a great plan. If you wanna follow something to do it, go for it. But it's really funny, and obviously the spoilers in this video, I mentioned I had my first QSO March 26th, and we're gonna talk about how that happened. So 9 days after making this plan, I made my first QSO. But for me, this was what was doable. This was my belief system. My belief system was I needed to do this before I could get on the air. And had I followed this plan and actually stuck with it, dang, I probably would have been ready to get on the air by then, but I would have missed, hindsight's 2020 for me now. I would have missed a really, really big opportunity. And that's what I'm about to cover with you guys. So around the same time, probably about a week or so later, I found a video. I love YouTube videos. I love POTA YouTube videos, CW, Thomas K4SWL, Aaron W4ARB. I love K9KJ. Met him at Hamvention. He's a great dude. DJ. But I found a video. This is VE3SVQ. This isn't, I don't think he's a huge YouTuber with this massive following, but he's got a good following. I think he has 500 subscribers. This video only has 380 views that deserve way more. But he puts out a POTA script. And so I watched this video, and spoiler, you can see my comment here at the bottom. This is 2 months ago. So I said, I needed this. I am learning CW currently on LCWO, and I'm monitoring POTAs. What I mean by that is parks on the air activations. I'm monitoring POTA from my base station, my shack that I'm currently in. Getting on the air is still really intimidating, but I feel like with this script, I may give it a shot this week since it's so simple. You'll notice that I said I might try this. He has a hyperlink, and I'm actually going to cover a script, and I'll include a script in my I took the script he has. I think I made a couple slight changes since I originally did it, but originally I used his exact script, and his script is essentially what I used. And so yeah, fast forward a couple days. The date was March 26th. I had been practicing this script. My copying was definitely not where it needed to be, and just with the script, I kind of worked up the courage to get on the air. So I'm going to share that with you guys now. I'm actually going to share the literal tangible piece of paper. I don't know if you guys will see this, but this is really special to me. This is the piece of paper, and I ended up having probably 100 of these that I printed out, and I had a stack, and I would fill them out before I dare sent my call sign. But this is the script I utilized to get on the air, and I did it March 26th. As you guys saw, 9 days after I made this plan. So 9 days after I made this plan, I threw it out the window and I used the script that was given to me. And really quick before I show the script, this first contact was K5 Oscar Hotel Yankee, K5 OHY. This is actually Tim. I like to think we're buddies now, even though we've never spoken in anything other than CW, but we've both contacted each other. We typically exchange our names now. And I think I sent him a QSL card after the first contact, just to let him know, hey, thanks for my first ever CW QSO. And the excitement I had when I made that first contact with this script, I ran upstairs and told my wife, I was like, I just got on the air. I just talked to somebody in Morse code. It was so fulfilling. It was so exciting. Now I want to really quickly share that my very next contact later that night, I was in Arizona. I completely screwed up. I was nervous. It was like the opposite feeling of this. And that's something you're gonna have to, I still to this day have to manage. But that's part of the journey is sometimes CW is gonna go really well, sometimes it's gonna be a little messy. I love watching K4SWL or other YouTubers that do pod activations because they always screw up somewhere. I've never watched an activation on YouTube where it was perfect. Uh, Even from the hunters, but the activators, they're not perfect. So we'll get into that a little bit, but again, that's why I wanted to share this advice for CW beginners and hopefully inspire someone to get on the air. Because my original plan, my belief system was this is what needs to be true for me to get on the air. And then thanks to really an Elmer that he had no idea that he was an Elmer for me for this, inspired me to put aside my belief system and just take a leap of faith. And what I want to share now, 2 months later, um, this is my POTA page. So, and I don't do this to brag, and this isn't like some incredible accomplishment in 2 months. You know, in 2 months, there's a lot of people that could blow these numbers out of the water. But I've activated. In fact, these numbers actually aren't accurate because I did two activations today, earlier today. They're in my logbook. So I have two activations, one new park in here, and then 500, or not 500, 58 QSOs just from the two activations. So I did the math total. In these 2 months, I've made 960 QSOs. Kind of bummed me out because I'm 40 short from being able to say, hey, I've made 1,000 QSOs the last month or the last 2 months. But I've done, so that'll be 35 out of 36 activations. I had one activation that was unsuccessful. And if you don't know, activation is 10 QSOs at a park. So if you get 10 contacts at a park that you've activated it. And I've activated one I've already done today, but the other one was a new park. So I've done officially 23 parks. Um, but yeah, this is for me, it's kind of like almost a miracle. It's been highly addicting, but if I didn't utilize a POTUS script, I would not have got on the air at that time. And the important thing to understand with the script is it was just something that gave me the courage to try. And that doesn't have to be what you use to get on the air. You should have confidence in the work you're putting in and understanding that anyone can get on the air, even at a low words per minute. For context, I'm sure some people will ask, I operate at about 20 words per minute, and I've done that basically from the get-go since getting on the air, probably maybe 18 or 19 words per minute. But that's really the speed at which you should learn. You should learn to recognize characters at that speed and learn to send at that speed. Once you're able to follow the script, send your call sign, copy your call sign, um, go get on the air, you will be surprised how much things change for you. Everything changed for me. I'm now at a point, even though it's not always pretty, I made so many mistakes today. But if it's a good signal and there's not, QSB or signal fading or QRM, a lot of noise, most of the time, if it's 20 words per minute, I'm copying that call sign the first time, uh, about 90% of the time. If it's not a great signal or something fades, I'll a good chunk of the time I'm sending a question mark because I don't quite copy it. But then once I get their call sign as an activator, the rest is history. So if you can start hunting park, I really believe within the confines of POTA, that is a phenomenal way to learn CW. There's obviously so much more. You have contesting, DXing, rag chews are really, really cool. But just for now, the POTA CW, I see that long term is what I want to do, and I want to be able to branch out and do other things. But um, that exchange, I think it's a great way to learn CW and learn instant character recognition and make progress. So really fast forward, I think this video has gone longer than I wanted it to, but I wanted to highlight my experience, what changed for me, and I hope that inspires someone to say, okay, go get on the air. And I know that's the ultimate cliche in ham radio. Go get on the air, go get on the air. And you're telling yourself, I'm not ready. But go use the script, practice the script, and then go hunt somebody. Please hunt me. I don't care if you make, I will wait. I don't care about my activation. If you need 10 times to send your call sign, and you misstep along the way, I will wait. And I frankly, I'm more excited when I get that hunter. I love hearing from the guys that hunt me all the time. I love hearing from new people. But when I specifically get someone where I can see on their POTA page I'm their fifth person they've hunted, that makes me excited because I was once in that position and I was really really worried about doing it right. Um, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't worry about it because nobody's perfect. We're all trying our best. And CW is a whole lot of fun. Like it'll change your life. It's that fun. I didn't choose CW, it chose me. And so if you're similar to that and you want to grow and branch out, use a script. So I'm going to hyperlink this. Here's the script that I'm going to hyperlink I'll link it in the description. This is literally exactly the script I use. I think I changed a couple things, but the way you do this is you'll come to Parks on the Air, this app site, and you can go to spots. So I actually have this bookmark. This is POTA.app, and you come to spots. And these are the people that are currently on the air. So this is N9 Oscar Hotel Whiskey. I've hunted him various times. He's actually at a new park right now. I should be hunting him. He's usually at the San Francisco Don Edwards. I've actually done multiple parks to park. That's where two parks talk to each other. But I can see that he's at 14,060.5, 20 meters. If I can hear that, I'm now ready to plug in on my script. Let me see if I can separate this for you guys. Let me see if I can pull this up. So what I would do is I would put N9OHY right here, his park number US 1161, the state California, and now I'm ready to go. And I would also mark the UTC time. So just mark the UTC time because everyone uses that time. And send your call sign. Listen for a partial call. So a lot of times we'll come back and I might send KI7QCF. He's just going to send 7, or he might send K question mark. Or today, I had someone send CF question mark. So I've hunted a few stations today. So listen for that. Get good at understanding when your call sign. And if you hear a letter in your call sign, immediately send your call sign back. And keep listening. Sometimes there might be multiple people coming and they both have a K. So really pay attention to that. When they answer, they're going to say your call sign, thank you, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My first 50 parks I hunted, I never responded with good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I kept it simple. But they might send good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you can match that, match it. I typically like to match what I get as a hunter, but it doesn't matter. There's really the only thing that matters is you send your call sign, they copy your call sign correctly, you get your RST, and then they get theirs, and your QTH or your location, which is your state. So when they answer that, they'll say, thank you, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. You are 599 in California. That's what N9OHW would say. And I would say the breaks are really important, by the way. So that's the BK. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. Whoop. I don't know if you'll be able to hear that, but I'm sending on my link here. But it's BK. And then you'll say, Roger, Roger, you are, and then give their RST. And I might get in trouble for this, but for me, the easiest thing was 5.9 or 5.5. It was harder for me to send 3.1.9 or 4.2.9. For me, a good signal was 5.9 and a bad signal was 5.5. And I did that. And I know, guys, I know that's probably not the best thing in the world. I'm at a point now where I obviously send what someone's signal is, but I don't care. If you're getting on the air for the first time and you feel better about sending 5.9.9, send it to me. You're good. I just want to get you in the log. I want you to get the park hunted. Once you've done it a while, yeah, start sending me my RSD as it reads on the S meter. But I'll tell you what, the guys on single sideband, they sure use 5.9 a lot. And a pro tip on the last 9, never send anything other than a 9. That final tone, from what I understand, that goes back decades on tubes and things like that, and that's not applicable to modern day keyers. But I still get people still send me outside of that. But just send 5.9 or 5.5.9. If you can send 5.7, 5.3.9, send the right thing. But if you can't, don't let that prohibit you from getting on the air. I still struggle with numbers. I screwed up numbers all day today. And then he'll say, yeah, thank you. When I'm activating, I'll say thank you. I'll say Roger, Roger, thank you. And I'll restate your state. I'll say thank you, California, and 73. And that's what I'll say. And when you hear the dit dit, respond back dit dit. A pro tip as well, this is my preference as an activator. If you hear your entire call sign, so this confused me as a hunter. If they say KI7QCF question mark, that if he gets your call sign right and he gets a question mark, he's asking for you to confirm that. You don't need to send your call sign again. Just give him a Roger, Roger. Um, Sometimes guys will come back and they'll say Roger, Roger, and then they'll send me the RST. I personally don't prefer that. It doesn't matter though. You can do whatever you want. But if they send you the call sign correctly, they're just confirming. Just say Roger, Roger, and then let them go take it and say, okay, great, you're 599, and then do the exchange. But I'll hyperlink this. Um, Guys, forgive me. This video is like literally 4 times as long as I wanted it to be. But I wanted to share my experience. My CW journey has been incredibly rewarding, and I really owe it to someone that just made a brief YouTube video and said, "Hey, go use the script." Everything will change for you. My skill level, my knowledge, my ability, my proficiency is astronomically further than where it would have been had I not gotten on the air. And I have so much further to go, but I'm so grateful I took that first step. And I hope you do too. So if you see me activating, please come hunt me. I'll do my best to slow my speed down, but have this script up. Look for those cues of when to enter and send it. And I do not care, nor does anyone else if you make mistakes. So let's go get on the air together and 73.